Hold on to me. Those were the last words Tucker said. I remember his body. It's burned up here like my wife, like... You never forget it. It scars. Nothing helps. He lay there motionless, broken. His one good eye was still open, glassy, unblinking. I didn't know what to do. Not immediately. I wanted to mourn. I shut down when I grieve. I don't process it normally. If there is a normal, I just stop. I don't cry, I don't scream, I don't bargain. I stay still. I don't want to keep going, to move forward. By stopping, it feels like I can stop time. Make everything a future problem. Everything feels less real. Tucker knew the risks. Almost welcomed it. We both knew we were probably going to die trying to figure this out. But it still felt extremely unfair. So, I stopped. For just a moment. I wanted to honor him in some way, but the building had other ideas. I could already feel my mind drifting. I don't focus well. My eyes wanted to blink. The crazy was about to pull me back in. It wasn't going to give me time to sit and accept his death. But it was right. I didn't have time. I had to keep moving. That felt fitting for Tucker. He wouldn't want someone to waste time mourning him. He would want them to do something. Not blinking, I began to work to secure our bodies together. There wasn't anything around the room besides the multiple doors leading out, so I eventually decided to rip off a piece of my shirt and tie it around both of our wrists. Hold on to me. This was the best I could manage while keeping two hands partially free. I had seen enough of this crazy building to know that maybe there was a way to get him back. If I blinked, carried us away, maybe there was a Tucker still alive somewhere. Maybe he would return to life, bound to me. In an endless supply of horrifying events all happening simultaneously, there had to be at least one in which he was still alive. Maybe I was bargaining, but it felt possible in an impossible place like that. Tucker had said something else. She's keeping me from blinking. How much power did Lorena have over the inner workings of the office? From how she had described it, the power had been here, or had come here at some point. It wasn't hers, not really. She had just harnessed it. Was it a pet, or a caged animal? Compliant? Happy? Or was it waiting to strike the hand that fed it? Keeping me from blinking. I didn't like what that implied, but I wasn't given time to think about it. Is everything okay in there? All right. I guess I should keep... hello? You guys okay? Something wrong with the recording equipment? Eventually, you always need to blink. I say blink. It wasn't always a physical blink. That was the hard part. It was more about focus, willing yourself to one spot. Sometimes blinking was a part of that. You'd lose sight of where you were, forget details. That would be enough to slip. But sometimes, even with your eyes open, if you let your mind wander too far from your location, you'd find yourself in another place. It was impossible to keep it from happening eventually. At least, for me. I don't have that great a focus. Then there was the mental toll. It was all happening at the same time, which I still don't understand. And the brain, it can't really keep up. Everything was a bit scattered. Even when you were cognizant, nothing ever felt very real. Regardless, I couldn't stay in that room forever with Tucker's corpse still pooling blood. I had to try something, anything, to get out of here. So, I blinked. After the world shifted and my stomach settled, I glanced to my side and saw that Tucker's lifeless body was still attached to me by the wrist. It had worked. He'd been towed along. His clothes were fixed, free of tears, of blood. Again, it felt wrong not to take a moment and mourn him. Everything was happening too fast. But I couldn't afford to waste time. This information had to leave the building. I patted around my coat pocket, and the files from Lorena's safe were still there. I was in what looked like a chapel. Old chapel. Not cathedral old. Middle of nowhere America old. Long rows of pews stretched out ahead, and There was a pulpit with a large stained glass window behind it. That was impressive in a building like this. It looked like it had been built in the 1920s and barely kept up in all those years. Instead of the normal biblical imagery, the stained glass depicted a man walking in the woods towards a building in the distance. He was naked, which felt odd for a church. There was no fig leaf, everything was on display. The art style was too realistic, not the stained glass stylization. His skin was pale. He looked like he was wet, like he'd just gone skinny dipping. Someone was standing in front of the far-off building, holding out their arms in a welcoming gesture. The art changed. It was subtle. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light shining through the painted glass. But then the man walking towards the building moved. It was like snapshots. I was blinking, but not being sent to another location. Instead, every time I blinked, the glass shifted. The figure stumbled towards the building, and the person standing outside walked in, disappearing from view. Black tendrils emerged from the trees and lapped at the man. He pushed them away, but fell to the ground. He continued to claw his way to the building, tentacles reaching towards him. There was determination on his face. He had to do this. To prove himself. This was a test, and he needed to pass. That's when I looked away from the window and sat down on a pew, being careful not to jostle Tucker too much, since, he was still attached to me. I'd realized this place wasn't sending me away. I didn't know how much longer the window was going to keep changing, but I didn't want to waste this opportunity to breathe. To think. Act. I pulled out Tucker's phone, which now had a few cracks on its screen, and typed in the password 3489. The phone unlocked. It showed the normal front page apps, and there was a picture of some forest as the background. Looked like a normal stock image. Everything appeared normal. "What do you want me to see, Tucker?" I asked.
Welcome to the Beating Heartland, created by Denver Baughman.
Episode 35, The Curse.
I noticed there was a notification for missed calls and some voicemails. There were 2 distinct phones, both private. For one, it just showed one word, no number. Cookie. The other one didn't even give a word, just a big, private number. I had a pretty strong hunch who this was, and had a feeling that these were all from the same person. I opened the voicemails and listened. Do you guys have those? I gave you the phone, right? Ah, good.
Hey, Columbo! I can tell from the files you just sent to me that you got into the building okay. Sick. Program worked like a charm. Can't tell you how happy that makes me. Amount of iterations that thing has gone through. Well, anyway, we got a lot of info from it. There's some weird stuff, man. Can already tell. These things are encrypted pretty tight. AES, RSA, no prob, just need some time. You have a timetable for when you need these? Not that I'm worried or anything, just don't want to get your hopes up if this takes longer than expected. I gotta brute force some of this with an algorithm my buddy and I have been working on that combines... well, a lot. Hence, new server room. Trust me, you need to check this place out sometime. Going to have everything running at full capacity for days working on this. While we wait for that to cook, I'm gonna try and masquerade some people in the company. Hopefully a dummy bites. There's some odd unencrypted defacement too. Doesn't fit the rest of what I got. Looks like someone threw a tantrum and messed with the system at some point. Best I can tell is that it came from one of the employees. Probably IT. Nutjob had experience. Anyway, you don't need the deets, just results. Oh, remember to wire me the money when you get a chance. Not that I'm worried, just use the proper channels this time, alright? Okay, talk to you later. Ciao.
After that, things started to take a turn. There was another one about 12 hours later.
Sup? Haven't heard from you. Everything smooth sailing after the hack? Oh, don't be surprised if I call you with a different phone after this. I'm gonna burn this one. Company is thorough, man. Can't be too careful. Calling to let you know that some headway has been strange. We've decrypted some stuff, but a lot of it's in code, and not the type I like. Cryptography has never been my strong suit. Very old school way of encryption, you know? Got a bot running frequency analysis and some other crypto mumbo jumbo. Got some stuff from that, but none of it's very useful. Not yet. I don't know what you got from that computer, but so far, not a lot about a grand conspiracy or data erasure. Seems more like religious jargon. Gonna keep working at it. Hopefully they have backups of the data they erased somewhere. That'd be dope. Computers have been acting odd. They're handling the input all right, but I don't know. Hearing weird stuff while they're running. Not really supposed to be making sounds, not like this. Almost like whispering, but I could have sworn I heard someone scream in another room at one point. No one else was here, man. I was alone. Must have come from one of the other computers. They didn't have anything running except the decryption stuff. Can't find any audio files that would explain it in the decrypted stuff either. Well, I gotta get back to work. Ciao. Expect a different phone. You know, the stuff they've been writing, fascinating. Like, I don't understand most of it, even after we got the codes deciphered. It's ramblings most of the time, almost a code by itself. It's so dense. It's something about it, the bits I understand, I don't know. It's like, I get it. You know what I mean? Anyway, hit a brick wall, metaphorically, with the decryption. Gotta find a way to bust through part of it doesn't want to give. Keep hearing the weird whispering, too. Oh, yeah, one of the computers blew up, like, actually caught fire. Something overworked it. They're supposed to turn off before that happens, though. Safeguard. It was weird. Keep you updated. Strange that you haven't called back yet.
That was timestamped for a few days after the last one. That was surprising. At the time I'd been listening to it, it hadn't even felt like a day had passed in the building. The next one was only an hour later. Yeah. Must have been the sounds coming from the computer, but Cookie didn't say anything. If he even was in the room when that call was made. There were only 2 voicemails left after that.
Greater purpose, the time is coming, time is coming, time is coming, he is here, he is here, help me.
We shouldn't have messed with this. This is bigger than we thought. They want us, all of us. We're all toys to them, crops. They killed him. The whispers, they crawled into his head. His head, it's gone. There's blood on everything. The computers, there's something alive. We can't keep doing this. I shut everything off. I can still hear. They're going to they won't shut up. It won't stop. It's never going to stop.
And that was the last voicemail. He never sent any files, no audio, documents, nothing. Any information is probably still on his hard drives. Don't even know if his body or his friends have been found yet. Hopefully a neighbor will smell them, or... Doesn't look good that we'll ever see any of that stuff. No idea who he even is, and good luck tracking those calls. All we have are the files from the safe in my... Wait, I must have given them to you guys. That's right, I did, I remember now. Anyway, up on the stained glass window, the guy was now dressed in what appeared to be a reverend's uniform, standing in the middle of the building, which turned out to be a chapel identical to the one I was sitting in. He looked around at 11 people who were all naked and sleeping on the pews. I kept working. Wasn't really concerned with whatever terrifying things this place wanted to show me. I was good. If it wanted to keep me there watching, fine by me. But I had work to do. Most of Tucker's phone looked normal. It was more organized than I would have thought, given the state of the apartment. Everything had a place which made a specific spot stand out. There was a folder pinned to the home screen. It was 3 swipes in, but it was the only icon on that page. There was no name. I was about to click it when I felt something brush my shoulder. I jumped from the pew. Sitting beside me was a pale, lightly clothed woman. Her eyes were closed, but there was movement underneath. She was dangerously skinny. Almost white, blonde hair hung wet and stringy around her face. She wasn't breathing, but the eyes still moved underneath the sunken lids, like she was dreaming. She wasn't the only person in the chapel. 11 other people sat, scattered throughout the room. They were all pale, eyes closed, barely more than skeletons. They were arranged like the stained glass window had depicted. One was at the pulpit, dressed like a reverend. He was slumped over the wooden pedestal, arms dangling off the sides. Slowly, one arm rose with a shaking finger. It pointed towards the woman sitting on the front row. The woman shot to her feet and turned to face me. Her eyes opened, and were pure white. With a nauseating crack, her wrinkled jaw opened wide. Without moving her lips, her voice echoed through the room with a croak. "Do you see? Do you understand?" She closed her mouth and stared with blank, white eyes. The woman looked familiar, and then I recognized her. She was thin, scraggly, but there was no mistaking that that woman was Lorena. Large footsteps boomed outside the chapel. Something was coming. Something big. The 12 corpses stood and turned towards the door, expecting whatever was approaching. Lorena smiled, opened her mouth again, and flames burst out, quickly engulfing her body. In short succession, each of the other 11 bodies erupted into pillars of fire. The woman directly beside me, with immense heat and stink, ignited. I backed up and tripped over Tucker. I blinked. I was in a cave. The same cave I saw before. The one with the FBI agents. Where Tucker had shot me. That felt like a lifetime ago now. This time in the cave, Tucker did not stand beside me. In fact, the corpse of Tucker was no longer attached to me by the wrist. The fabric had snapped. I looked around, but Tucker's body was nowhere to be seen. I'd lost him. I didn't know how the fabric had snapped, but Tucker was gone. There was just an empty tunnel ahead. A pale glow in the distance indicated which way to walk. There was nothing else to do but follow the tunnel, so I turned Tucker's phone flashlight on and walked. It was narrow and uneven. The rocks were slick with water that was dripping from above. I tripped several times, cutting my hands on the wall as I steadied myself. The tunnel stretched longer than I had expected, but eventually I turned a corner and stepped into a familiar, large cavern filled with rows of teeth-like stalagmites and stalactites. The walls were littered with scribbled language in blood and ink, words that I did not know, but had seen a handful of times now. In the center of the room, a smooth, bare circle stood out, as if someone had carved an area to stand comfortably amidst the stalagmites. Around the circle, corpses were strung about. The rocks pierced the bodies and limbs and hung them in the air, blood draining out and staining the floor. In the center, standing still, unbreathing, was Tucker. His eyes were open, but he wasn't alive. His face was pale gray, and his eyes were cloudy. It was like the bodies in the chapel. Lorena. Some unseen force was holding Tucker, keeping him standing. Something tickled the back of my neck. I turned, startled, but nothing stood behind me. I felt the sensation again, and then I could almost hear words in my head. Quiet, almost imperceptible. 3489. Something grabbed my hand and pulled it towards Tucker. I cried and pulled back before I stumbled and got impaled by the stalagmites. Whatever had grabbed me stopped, and I noticed that Tucker's phone in my hand was now unlocked. My fingers had somehow put in the code without me noticing. "Do it!" The voice was harsh, shrill. I spun again, but only Tucker was in the room with me. His dead eyes stared directly at me, and I felt something. Something from him. How I knew it was from him, I don't know. But he was willing me on, wanting me to use the phone. I looked down at it, still unlocked, and opened the unnamed folder. I don't know what I expected. Tucker had been so adamant about knowing his phone password, and I felt sure this folder was the reason for it. I'd thought it would be private documents, secrets about the cult, family, whatever. Something that would give me more answers that he didn't feel safe to say out loud. In the folder, there were only photos. They were of the cave, the one I was in now. Most of the photos were grainy and dark. Couldn't make anything out. But near the end, there was an image of two people backlit by a flashlight. They were holding down two other people who were on their knees. The other details were fuzzy, but something loomed behind them, past the light. Glowing red eyes. Those eyes. Even through the picture, I could feel them staring at me. The next picture I could make out was of the cavern wall. On the wall were the words I had seen appear in Tucker's apartment. These were written with more care than the rest. Cursive. Elegant. I felt a compulsion and glanced up. Behind the motionless Tucker, the words appeared on the wall behind him. They bubbled into existence, blood seeping out of the cave rock, shaping the sentence. Dark red dripped from the rocky surface and splashed on the ground. I couldn't read it. But then there was a pop and force. I felt my jaw open against my will. My mouth formed the words. It wasn't my voice. It was harsh, whispered. The whispering echoed throughout the cavern, and all the dead bodies surrounding the circle seemed to join in the chant. I still have no idea what I said, but it was something old. My vision blurred and my ears popped as wind whipped past me from the tunnels, sucking in towards the circle, towards Tucker. The stalagmites and stalactites trembled as the whole cavern began to shake. Tucker's mouth opened wide and the wind seemed to suck into it. He collapsed to the floor, his body shaking violently like he was having a seizure. I could barely keep my eyes open, but I was able to just make out Tucker's body writhing on the ground. Tucker screamed. Another scream quickly replaced it, higher, feminine. His body jerked violently to the side. The scream changed again and his arms flailed. Again, his head snapped up, threatening to pop off his neck. And then, the screams melded together. Tucker's scream won. It grew louder, drowning out the others. And then, everything went quiet. The wind stopped, and Tucker's body wasn't moving. Then, he coughed. Tucker here. Careful. Just breathe. Breathe. It's okay.
Where?
You're alive. You're alive. This is crazy.
No, I'm not, what did you call me?
Tucker?
Tucker. Oh.
Crap, okay. Okay, we have to get you out of here. Your mind's scrambled. Come on. Can you stand?
Oh, wait, I'm not,
Ooh. Okay. Easy there. What hurts? I can help. Let me help. Okay, there you go. That's better. That sounds better. Just take it easy.
It's me. It's me. I'm back.
Don't try to talk. Just take some time to...
No. I'm me. I'm Tucker.
You're Tucker. Okay. Good. You remember your name. That's good. That's good. You're doing better already.
Where are we? I'm back here.
Shh. shh, no. We're still in the office. Lorena, remember? This isn't the cave. It's just a copy.
Yeah, right. So not much better.
Yeah, I guess not, huh? You died.
Yeah, I guess I did. That's what that feels like. Wasn't great.
I bet not. But you're alive.
Am I?
I mean, yeah. How do you feel?
I don't know. Feel light. How long was I dead?
I have no idea. Time here is...
Weird. Yeah, I remember. Wait, you found the folder? On my phone?
Yeah,
How many? How many tried to get in?
I don't know what you...
How many voices?
Voices? You screamed and it sounded weird. Is that...
How many screams?
4.
Great. Okay. Philip, I need you to do something for me.
Of course, yeah.
Check my pulse.
I mean, okay.
Right here. Good. Now wait.
I don't...
What do you feel?
Nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't have a pulse.
Don't worry about it. Let's get out of here. Does blinking still work?
Wait,
We're not done yet. Gotta get out of here. You still have the folders from her safe?
Yeah, but... Tucker, I don't understand.
I'm not alive.
What?
Don't try to make sense of it, okay? I'm dead. Ghost. Zombie. It's weird. Really weird. But I'm here. That's what matters. So, we get out of here, nothing changes.
What did I read? What was that? How did I bring you back?
It was a curse, an incantation, whatever. Doesn't matter. The cult in Colorado was using it. The other 2 agents and I interrupted one of their ceremonies when we explored the caves. Long story short, the people in the caves didn't want to die. I mean, who does? They couldn't keep their bodies living forever. Matter decays no matter what. But other, younger bodies, they could use that, so they kidnapped people. The sheriff was part of it. Mostly tried to use criminals from the jail, saying they were being sent to the state prison. But they were for the ritual. A ritual that involved suicide. They forcefully injected their souls into other people. I went into the cave and found them. Here. The cult. We watched as they killed themselves. And the whole time they were chanting this writing. Next thing I know, my partners were on the ground spasming. I was freaking out, trying to help my partners. But then there was this wind. Everything went crazy. And then they got back up. And they looked at me. Like they had no idea who I...
Tucker! What's wrong?
Whoa. That was crazy. It's a party in here. Never had this many people wanting the front seat before.
Who am I speaking with?
It's Sally, silly. Don't you remember me?
The Beating Heartland was written by Denver Baughman. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on whatever streaming platform you are using. Follow us online at The Beating Heartland. Thank you for listening.